Stage 1 breast cancer. If we'd waited another 6 months, you'd be dead.
You're using us as guinea pigs, testing your billion-dollar tech on poor people who can't fight back!
Stage 1 breast cancer. If we'd waited another 6 months, you'd be dead. Sofia Martinez stared at the doctor, those words echoing in her skull. Dead. She'd be dead. Her 7-year-old daughter would be an orphan, all because she'd been too broke to afford a $200 mammogram. But that was 3 months ago. Now Sofia stood in a packed San Francisco community center, watching the woman who'd saved her life get torn apart by an angry crowd. You're using us as guinea pigs. Miguel Martinez, Sofia's brother, pointed at Dr. Mei Chen on stage, his voice shaking with rage. Testing your billion-dollar tech on poor people who can't fight back. Mei gripped the podium, her face pale. Your sister is alive because of my tech. Would you rather she was dead? The room exploded. Miguel's face went from red to white. Sofia grabbed his arm, but he shook her off, advancing toward the stage. Don't you dare use her like that, Miguel said, his voice dropping to something dangerous. Don't you dare. I'm not using anyone. Mei's voice cracked. I'm trying to save lives. The same life I couldn't save 6 months ago when my sister died in my arms because we caught her cancer too late. The room went silent. Have you ever watched someone's anger collapse into grief right in front of you? Have you ever seen the exact moment someone realizes they've been wrong about everything? That's what Sofia saw on her brother's face. And she knew everything was about to change. But to understand how they got here, to this moment that would either destroy everything or save thousands of lives, you need to know what happened 6 months ago, on the worst day of Mei Chen's life. Hey, lovies, welcome to Echoes of Heart TV. What you're about to witness will absolutely wreck you. A story about a billionaire who built an AI app from grief, a single mother who almost died because she couldn't afford healthcare, and 2 people who started as enemies and became something neither expected. If you're already hooked wondering how Sofia survived and why Miguel is so angry, hit that like button right now and subscribe. We share stories about using wealth to heal instead of hoard, about love that defies every boundary, and about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Turn on notifications because what happens next, the moment Miguel discovers the truth, the lawsuit that threatens everything, and the choice that changes thousands of lives, will leave you breathless. Now let's go back 6 months to the funeral that started it all. Mei Chen stood at her sister's grave and made a promise she had no idea how to keep. I'll make it mean something, Mei whispered to the casket being lowered into the ground. I swear, Maya, your death will mean something. Around her, 200 people cried. Maya's husband collapsed against his mother. Elementary school students, Maya's students, held hand-drawn cards that said, "We love you, Miss Chen." But Mei felt nothing, just cold spreading from her chest outward, numbing everything it touched. Her older brother Richard touched her elbow. You need to say something. The eulogy. Mei walked to the podium on autopilot, looked at the sea of waiting faces, opened her mouth, and let the truth pour out. My sister called me 37 times in 3 months. I answered 11. Her voice was flat, mechanical. I was too busy building my tech company, making my first $100 million. She told me she'd found a lump. I said probably nothing, and changed the subject because I had a meeting. Someone gasped. Richard tried to pull her away, but Mei kept talking. Maya was 35 years old. By the time someone finally took her seriously, it was stage 3B. 14 months later, she was dead. And I have $200 million, and none of it saved her. Mei's voice finally broke. What good is any of it? She walked away, past her shocked family, past the crying students, kept walking until she was alone in her car. And that's when she finally shattered. 3 weeks later, Mei burst into Vittle AI headquarters with a plan that would either save thousands of lives or destroy her company. We're pivoting, she announced to her executive team. Everything, all our AI, all our resources, we're building a breast cancer detection app, free for everyone. Her CTO, Jason, looked at her like she'd lost her mind. Mei, we have government contracts worth millions. 3 products in development. You can't just watch me. I own controlling shares. This is happening. The board will never approve this, her CFO, Patricia, said carefully. Maybe after you've had time to grieve. 42,000 women die from breast cancer every year in this country. Mei's voice was steel. 98% could survive if we caught it early. That's 40,000 preventable deaths every single year while we sit here arguing about profit margins. The room went silent. We're building an app that uses thermal imaging and AI to detect early-stage cancer from a smartphone. No doctor needed, no insurance required. We deploy in underserved communities first, where women like Maya die because the system fails them. Jason shook his head. That'll cost tens of millions to develop and validate. I'm liquidating 50 million of my personal assets today. Patricia went pale. That's your entire? What good is money if it doesn't save lives? Mei looked at each of them. I couldn't save Maya, but maybe I can save someone else's sister, someone else's mother. That's worth more than any profit margin. 4 months later, the app was ready for beta testing. Dr. Linda Park, a Korean-American oncologist at UCSF, who lost her own mother to breast cancer, had helped validate every algorithm. Now she stood beside Mei at a community health fair in San Francisco's Mission District, watching skeptical faces pass by their booth. Free breast cancer screening, no insurance required, takes 5 minutes. Most people walk past, until one woman slowed down. Young, tired, scared in a way Mei recognized. But before the woman could approach, a man stepped in front of the booth. Tall, intense, wearing a community health organization shirt. His eyes locked on Mei with immediate distrust. Who authorized you to be here? He demanded. Mei stepped forward. I'm Dr. Mei Chen. I know who you are. His voice was cold. Rich tech CEO slumming in poor neighborhoods with your free app. I've seen this before. You're not here to help. You're here to harvest data from people who can't fight back. That's not... My parents died because they couldn't afford health care. The man's voice shook. Both of them, within 6 months of each other. Diabetes and heart disease, preventable if they'd had money. So excuse me if I don't trust billionaires showing up with promises. Mei felt the words hit her chest. I'm sorry about your parents, but I'm not here to profit. My sister died of breast cancer 6 months ago. Stage 3B because we caught it too late. This app could have saved her. Something flickered in the man's face. Pain, recognizing pain. I'm Miguel Martinez, he said finally. I coordinate community health outreach for this district, and I'm telling everyone here, don't trust this woman. Nothing is ever really free. He walked away, leaving Mei standing there with her booth and her grief. But what Miguel didn't see was the woman who'd been watching the whole confrontation. His younger sister, Sofia, who'd found a lump 3 weeks ago and was trying to ignore it because she had no insurance and couldn't afford to miss work. Sofia waited until Miguel was distracted. Then she approached Mei's booth. Does it really work? Sofia whispered. Mei looked at this woman, young, terrified, the same age Maya had been. I hope so, but I need people willing to try it. Will it tell me if something's wrong? The fear in Sofia's voice made Mei's chest tighten. It detects thermal patterns consistent with early breast cancer. If it flags anything, we connect you with Dr. Park immediately. Free examination, free follow-up, all of it. Sofia glanced over her shoulder. Miguel was still occupied. Okay, show me how. 90 seconds later, the app's results appeared. Red zone, high-risk thermal pattern, right breast, upper quadrant. Mei's stomach dropped. Sofia saw her face and knew. It's cancer, isn't it? It's something. We need a real mammogram today. Mei was already texting Linda. Dr. Park can see you this afternoon at UCSF. I'll cover everything. I can't afford... You're not paying. That's the point. Mei met Sofia's eyes. My sister waited. She died. You're not waiting. You're not dying. Not if I can help it. Sofia's eyes filled with tears. Why would you do this for a stranger? Because I couldn't save Maya, but maybe I can save you. 3 hours later, Sofia sat in a UCSF examination room wearing a paper gown and trying not to shake. The mammogram had confirmed Mei's worst fear. 3-centimeter mass. Suspicious characteristics. Dr. Linda Park sat across from Sofia with images that looked like a death sentence. Miss Martinez, I need to be direct. We found a malignant tumor. Based on imaging, stage 1, possibly early stage 2. Sofia couldn't breathe. I'm going to die. No, Linda's voice was firm. Stage 1 breast cancer has a 98% 5-year survival rate. You caught it early. That changes everything. I have a daughter, Sofia whispered. Emma, she's 7. She already lost her father. I'm all she has. And because Dr. Chen's app caught this early, you'll be there to watch Emma grow up. Linda leaned forward. If you'd waited another year, which you would have because who can afford routine mammograms without insurance? This would be stage 3 or 4, 30% survival rate at best. You'd likely be dead within 5 years. The words hung in the air. Dead within 5 years. Emma would be 12. Orphaned. The door opened. Mei stood there, still in her clothes from the health fair, looking uncertain. I'm sorry. I know I'm not family. I just needed to know. Stage 1, Linda said. Thanks to your app catching it early. Mei's knees gave out. She sat down hard, face in her hands, crying. Sofia reached over and grabbed Mei's hand. You saved my life. I couldn't save Maya, Mei said through tears, but I saved you. That has to count for something. It has to. They sat holding hands, 2 strangers bound by loss and life and the random chance of a Saturday morning health fair. Sofia's phone buzzed. Text from Miguel. Where are you? Emma's scared. What's going on? Sofia texted back with shaking hands. UCSF cancer, stage 1. They're operating. Tell Emma mommy's okay. Miguel's response was immediate. I'm coming. Don't move. He arrived like a hurricane, bursting through doors, demanding to know where his sister was, barely registering Mei until she stood up. You, Miguel said, his voice dangerous. What did you do to her? I saved her life, Mei said quietly. Your sister has stage 1 breast cancer. My app detected it. Dr. Park confirmed it. Surgery will remove it. She's going to survive. Miguel looked at Sofia. Is this true? Sofia nodded, tears streaming. The lump I found, it's cancer, Miguel, but they caught it early because of her, because I didn't listen to you telling everyone not to use the app. Miguel's face went through fear, relief, guilt, rage. He looked at Mei with something between hatred and gratitude. I need to talk to the doctor. Alone. In Linda's office, Miguel learned the numbers that would haunt him. Even with early detection, we're looking at lumpectomy, possibly radiation. Between $60,000 and $80,000 total. Miguel felt the world tilt. I have maybe $15,000 saved. Sofia's insurance through work won't cover half. How do we? Dr. Chen has committed to covering all costs. We're not charity cases. It's not charity, Linda said gently. Dr. Chen's sister died because nobody caught it early enough. She's not going to let that happen to anyone else if she can help it. She paused. Your sister is alive because Mei Chen couldn't save her own. That's what matters. Miguel sat with his head in his hands. I called her a colonizer, accused her of exploiting people, and she was saving my sister's life. Maybe you were both right. Maybe she needed to prove herself, but she did prove herself with Sofia. When Miguel returned to Sofia's room, Mei was still there. Sofia had dozed off. I owe you an apology, Miguel said quietly. You were protecting your community. I'd have done the same. I told everyone you were using us, that you couldn't be trusted, and you saved my sister. Miguel's voice broke. She's all I have. Our parents died when I was 18. Diabetes and heart disease they couldn't afford to treat. I've been raising Sofia since she was 15. She's my whole world. Mei understood. Maya was my whole world too, and I lost her because I was too busy, too important. Now I have all this money and it's meaningless. So you're trying to buy redemption. I'm trying to make her death mean something. If I can save enough people, maybe one day I'll be able to sleep without seeing her face." They sat in silence, two people carrying different versions of the same grief. Sofia stirred. "Are you two done fighting?" "For now," Miguel said. He looked at Mei. "If you're serious about this, about really helping, I know every community health center in the Bay Area, every clinic, every neighborhood. If you want to reach people who need this most, I can help." "Why would you help me? You think I'm a colonizer?" "I think you're a rich person with good intentions, which usually ends badly." Miguel's voice was honest. "But you saved my sister. So maybe you're the exception. Or maybe I'm desperate enough to take the chance." "I'll take desperate," Mei said. "Partners?" Miguel shook her hand. "Partners. But I'm watching you. And if you bail when things get hard, I'll make sure everyone knows. Fair." What neither of them knew was that this handshake would change thousands of lives, including their own. The surgery was scheduled for Tuesday. Lumpectomy. If margins were clean, 6 weeks of radiation. No chemo needed if lymph nodes were clear. "Best case scenario," Linda explained. "Caught early, localized, treatable." Sofia nodded, but her hands shook. Her daughter Emma sat beside her coloring, oblivious. "I'm scared," Sofia whispered. "That's normal," Linda said, "but you're going to be fine." Mei had been sitting quietly. "Can I be here? For the surgery? I know I'm not family." "Yes," Sofia said immediately. "Please, both of you, Miguel and you." Surgery day arrived. Mei showed up at dawn with coffee for Miguel and a stuffed bear and a doctor's coat for Emma. "For bravery," Mei said, kneeling to Emma's level. "Your mom is very brave. So are you." Emma hugged the bear. "Is my mommy going to die?" The question stopped everyone. Mei met Emma's eyes. "No, sweetie. The doctors are going to take out the bad cells. Your mommy is going to be fine, and you're going to help her get better. Okay?" "Okay," Emma said, satisfied. The surgery took 2 hours. Miguel paced. Mei sat with Emma, distracting her with coloring books and snacks. Neither spoke much, both terrified. When Linda appeared, she was smiling. Clean margins, no lymph node involvement. "We got it all. She's going to be fine." Miguel collapsed into a chair, covering his face, crying. Emma looked worried. "Uncle Miguel? Happy tears, mija," Mei said, her own eyes wet. "Those are happy tears." In recovery, Sofia was groggy, but awake. "Did they get it?" "All of it," Miguel said. "You're going to be fine. I'm going to see Emma grow up." Sofia started crying. "I'm going to watch her graduate, get married, have babies. I get to have a future." That night, after Emma was asleep and Sofia was resting, Miguel and Mei sat in the hospital cafeteria over terrible coffee. "I need to know something," Miguel said. "How many other Sofias are out there? How many women are ignoring lumps because they can't afford mammograms?" Mei pulled up statistics on her phone. 42,000 women die annually from breast cancer. Black women 40% more likely to die despite lower incidence. Hispanic women lowest screening. Miguel walked back to Sofia's room like a man underwater. When he entered, Mei was still sitting beside the bed, Sofia dozing from the stress and medication. "I owe you an apology," Miguel said quietly. Mei looked up. "You were protecting your community. I'd have done the same. I called you a colonizer, told 200 people your app was dangerous, and the whole time you were..." His voice broke. "She's all I have, my only family, and you saved her. I'm sorry about your parents." Miguel sat down heavily. Diabetes and heart disease, both preventable with proper care they couldn't afford. I watched them die because poverty is apparently a death sentence in the richest country on earth. He looked at Mei. "So when you showed up with your free app and your tech company, all I saw was another rich person using poor people for good PR. I get it. I would have thought the same thing before Maya. Your sister. How old was she?" 35. Elementary school teacher. Married. Trying to start a family. Found a lump, dismissed it. By the time someone took her seriously, stage 3B. Dead 14 months later. Mei's voice was steady, but her hands shook. I was too busy building my empire to answer her calls. Now I have $200 million and it's meaningless. Silence stretched between them. Then Miguel said something that surprised them both. If you're serious about this, about really helping, I know every community health center in the Bay Area, every clinic, every neighborhood organization, places where people actually trust me. If you want to reach the women who need this most, I can help you. Why would you help me after what you think of me? Because you saved Sofia. Because maybe, just maybe, you're the exception to every rule I've learned about rich people. Miguel's voice was honest. But I'm watching you. And if you disappear when things get hard, I'll make sure everyone knows. Fair enough. Mei held out her hand. Partners? Miguel shook it. Partners. What neither of them knew was that this handshake would change everything. Surgery day arrived with fog rolling through San Francisco. Mei showed up at dawn with coffee for Miguel and a stuffed bear wearing a doctor's coat for Emma. For bravery, Mei said, kneeling to Emma's level. Your mom is the bravest person I know, and so are you. Emma clutched the bear. Is mommy going to die? The question stopped everyone. Miguel started to answer, but Mei spoke first. No, sweetie. The doctors are going to take out the bad cells and leave all the good ones. Then your mom comes home and you take care of her while she gets stronger. That's the deal, okay? Okay. Emma seemed satisfied with that. The surgery took 2 hours. Miguel paced. Mei sat with Emma, distracting her with coloring books and snacks. Neither adult spoke much, both terrified despite the statistics. When Dr. Linda Park appeared, she was smiling. Clean margins, no lymph node involvement. We got it all. She's going to be fine. Miguel collapsed into a chair, face in his hands, crying. Emma looked worried. Uncle Miguel's sad? Happy tears, mija, Mei said, her own eyes wet. Those are very happy tears. In recovery, Sofia was groggy, but awake. Did they get it? Every bit, Miguel said. You're going to be fine. I get to watch Emma grow up. Sofia started crying. I get to have a future. That night, Miguel and Mei sat in the hospital cafeteria over terrible coffee, while Emma slept, curled up against Sofia's hospital bed upstairs. How many other Sofias are out there? Miguel asked suddenly. How many women right now are ignoring lumps because they can't afford to get them checked? No, for choirs, Mei pulled up statistics on her phone. 42,000 women die annually from breast cancer in the U.S. Black women are 40% more likely to die despite lower incidence rates. Hispanic women have the lowest screening rates of any demographic. Women without insurance are twice as likely to be diagnosed at late stages. So thousands, tens of thousands, and that's just breast cancer. Miguel was quiet for a long moment. Your app, how many people have downloaded it since launch? About 5,000. And how many high-risk flags? 47. We've confirmed 12 cases of stage 1 breast cancer through follow-up. 12 women who'd be dead in a few years if you hadn't caught it. Yes. Miguel met her eyes. What do you need? To reach more people? To actually make a difference at scale? Are you seriously offering to help? You saved my sister. Maybe I was completely wrong about you. Maybe some rich people actually care about more than getting richer. He paused. Or maybe you're just the exception. Either way, if you're committed to this, I can help you reach the communities that need it most. But his voice hardened. If you're going to make promises to these people, you keep them. These are real lives, not a PR campaign. I'm in this until every woman who wants a screening can get one. Until early detection is accessible, regardless of income. Until no one else has to die the way Maya died. That's a big promise. I have a big fortune. Might as well use it for something that actually matters. Miguel studied her face, then held out his hand again. Real partners this time, not just grudging cooperation. Mei shook it. Real partners. Neither of them noticed the spark when their hands touched. Or maybe they both did and chose to ignore it. Over the next 3 weeks, they worked together every single day, setting up screening booths at community health fairs across San Francisco, training volunteers, Miguel introducing Mei to community leaders who trusted him, Mei providing medical connections and resources and covering every dollar of cost. They argued constantly about everything, messaging strategies, outreach approaches, whether to accept a $2 million donation from a pharmaceutical company. Oh, think how many more women we could reach with that funding, Mei said one evening after a long day in Bayview. Think what it looks like, Miguel shot back. Big pharma funding grassroots health initiatives? People will think we sold out, that there's some hidden agenda. There's no agenda. The app is free. Follow-up is free. Everything is free. I know that. You know that. But optics matter, Mei. These communities have been burned before by people who promise to help. So we stay small? Reach fewer women? Let people die because we're worried about perception? We stay independent. We build real trust. Maybe that means slower growth, but it means when we say we're here to help, people actually believe us. Mei wanted to keep fighting, but she saw the conviction in Miguel's eyes. He'd been doing this work since he was 18 years old. He understood these communities in ways she never would. Fine, she said. We do it your way. Miguel looked genuinely surprised. You're agreeing with me. You were right about Sofia, about me needing to prove myself before people would trust me. You're probably right about this too. I'm not used to you backing down from an argument. Don't get comfortable. But the truth was, Mei was getting comfortable with Miguel's constant presence at these events, with his confidence and his passion, and the way he could diffuse tension with a joke or rally support with a story about why this mattered. She was getting comfortable with a lot of things she hadn't expected to feel again. One evening, sitting on a bench in Portsmouth Square after 42 screenings in Chinatown, Miguel asked, do you ever sleep? Because I get notifications from you at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. Sometimes I think you don't sleep at all. Mei didn't answer right away. When she did, her voice was soft. When I sleep, I dream about Maya, about the phone calls I didn't answer, about the day she told me about the lump, and I said, probably nothing because I had a meeting I thought mattered more. So no, I don't sleep much. That's not sustainable. Nothing about this is sustainable, but I don't know any other way to live with what I've done. Miguel turned to really look at her. You know saving other people won't bring her back, right? That even if you save 1,000 women, Maya's still gone? I know. And you know it wasn't actually your fault she died? That even if you'd answered every call, even if you dragged her to the doctor yourself, Stage 3B is Stage 3B. The outcome might have been the same. I know that intellectually, but knowing something and believing it are very different things. They sat in silence as the sun set over San Francisco, painting the sky orange and pink. You're not what I expected, Miguel said quietly. Neither are you. Their eyes met, held for a moment too long. Something passed between them that neither was ready to name but both felt. Mei's phone buzzed, breaking the moment. A text from her CFO, Patricia. We need to talk. Urgent. Mei ignored it. Important? Miguel asked. My CFO probably wants to lecture me about burn rate again. Burn rate? How fast I'm spending money. Apparently saving lives is expensive. Miguel's smile faded. How expensive? Don't worry about it. Mei. She sighed. 18 million in 3 months. At this rate, I'm out of money in 8 months. Miguel went still. What happens then? I figure something out. There's always a way. But 2 days later, Patricia called an emergency meeting that Mei couldn't ignore. We need to talk about the foundation's financial situation, Patricia said, her face grave. You've spent $18 million in 3 months. At this rate, your entire $50 million allocation will be gone in under a year. Then I'll liquidate more assets. You don't have more liquid assets, Mei. Everything else is tied up in Vital A stock. If you liquidate more, you lose controlling interest in your own company. The words hit like cold water. How much runway do we actually have? 6 months, maybe 8 if we cut costs significantly. We're not cutting costs. Every dollar we cut is a woman we don't save. Mei, you have to be realistic. You can't save everyone. Watch me. But after Patricia left, Mei sat alone in her office staring at spreadsheets that didn't work. Patricia was right. The math was brutal. They were helping hundreds of women, but thousands needed screening. Tens of thousands. and every woman flagged needed follow-up care that cost tens of thousands of dollars. The need was infinite. Her resources were decidedly not. Her phone rang. Her brother Richard. She'd been ignoring his calls for weeks, but something made her answer this time. "What do you want, Richard?" "To save you from yourself." His voice was sharp. "I've been talking to the Vital AI board. They're very concerned about your mental state, Mei, about the company's direction. Your stock is down 30% since you announced this pivot. I don't care about stock prices. You should, because when you run out of money, which you will in about 6 months, all those women you've promised to help, you won't be able to help them anymore. You'll have made promises you can't keep, done more harm than good." The words hit harder than Mei wanted to admit. "So what do you suggest?" "Stop trying to do this alone. Partner with organizations that have deeper pockets. Pharmaceutical companies, insurance providers, government grants. Take their money and use it to scale. Those partnerships come with strings. Everything comes with strings, Mei. The question is whether you're willing to pull them to save more lives. Because right now, your pride is getting in the way of your mission." After he hung up, Mei sat in the dark office, the city lights of San Francisco glittering below her windows like false promises. Richard was right. She hated that he was right. But he was. She couldn't do this alone. The numbers didn't work. She called Miguel. "We have a problem." 20 minutes later, they sat in a quiet cafe, Mei laying out the brutal financial reality. 6 months of runway, maybe 8. Not enough to reach everyone who needed help. "So we need to expand our funding sources," Miguel said slowly, "which means compromising on independence, taking money from organizations I don't trust. Or," Miguel said carefully, "we go public with this. Really public. National media. Tell your story. Show people like Sofia who are alive because of early detection. Inspire other wealthy people to fund similar initiatives in their cities. You want me to do press conferences? I want you to inspire people with resources to actually use them for good. You can't save everyone alone, but maybe you don't have to be alone. Maybe there are others out there who've lost people to cancer, who have money but don't know how to make it matter. Your story could inspire them." That's a big maybe. It's better than running out of money in 6 months and abandoning everyone who's counting on you. Mei knew he was right, but the thought of going public, of making herself vulnerable to judgment and criticism on a national stage. "I'll think about it," she said. But events were about to force her hand. 3 days later, a story broke on local news. Unregulated medical apps targeting vulnerable communities. Dr. Harrison, the Bayview doctor who'd confronted Mei weeks ago, was interviewed extensively. He called the app dangerous, said Mei was practicing medicine without a license, demanded immediate regulatory oversight and FDA investigation. The story went viral within hours. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. Medical ethics boards launched investigations. The FDA sent formal inquiries. Community leaders who'd supported them started distancing themselves, worried about liability. Social media exploded with hot takes. Tech vulture. Profiteer disguised as philanthropist, experimenting on poor communities. Miguel showed up at Mei's office without warning. "We need to respond. Now." "With what? We're under investigation. Anything we say will be used against us." "So we don't just say something, we show them." Miguel pulled out his phone. "Sofia wants to do an interview. Tell her story publicly. Show people what early detection actually looks like. Put a real face and a real life on what you're building. That'll make her a target. She knows. She wants to do it anyway. Says if telling her story saves even one more life, it's worth whatever comes." Mei felt something crack in her chest. She shouldn't have to. No, but she wants to. And maybe it's time to stop trying to protect everyone and let the people you've saved tell their own stories. So Sofia did the interview. Local news first, then it got picked up nationally. She sat in the studio with Emma on her lap, wearing her survivor shirt, telling the story of a health fair and an app and a diagnosis that saved her life. "I'm alive because Dr. Chen couldn't save her own sister," Sofia said, her voice strong and clear. "I get to watch my daughter grow up because someone turned their grief into action. If that's what tech vultures do, then we need a lot more of them. The interview went viral. Within 24 hours, over 1 million shares. The narrative began to shift. More survivors came forward with their own stories. Women who'd used the app, gotten diagnosed early, caught it at stage 1 instead of waiting until it was too late. They made videos, wrote blog posts, showed up at community centers with signs reading, "This app saved my life." And then the donations started flooding in. Small amounts first, $5 here, $10 there. People who couldn't afford much but wanted to help. Then larger contributions. A tech CEO who'd lost his mother to breast cancer sent $100,000. A venture capital firm offered $1 million grant with no strings attached. Within 1 week, they'd raised $3 million from ordinary people who believed in what they were building. Mei sat in her office watching the donation counter climb, tears streaming down her face. Miguel sat beside her, equally overwhelmed. "People actually care," Mei whispered. "Of course they care. Everyone's lost someone. Everyone knows someone fighting cancer. You just gave them a way to help that actually works." But the good news lasted exactly 48 hours. Then the letter arrived. Mei opened the envelope with shaking hands, read the legal letterhead, and felt her world tilt sideways. Her brother Richard was suing her, claiming she was mentally incompetent due to unresolved grief, seeking a court order to remove her as CEO of Vital AI and place her assets under conservatorship. This is to protect the company from the liability of your unsanctioned medical experimentation and to protect you from yourself during this period of obvious mental instability. Mei read the letter 3 times, each time feeling more hollow. Richard was trying to take everything, the company, her control, her ability to fund the foundation, her ability to save anyone. She called Miguel, her voice shaking. "Richard's suing me. He's trying to get me declared incompetent. Can he do that? With the right lawyers and the right arguments? Maybe. The Vital AI board is already nervous about stock prices and investigations. If Richard can convince a judge I'm making irrational decisions based on grief rather than sound judgment, then we fight back, hard. You get on stage and you prove you're not incompetent. You show everyone exactly what you're accomplishing." How? That TED-style conference talk we discussed? The one about inspiring other wealthy people to fund similar initiatives? Miguel's voice was urgent. "We do it. This week. You get on that stage, you tell your story, you show the data, you prove you're solving a massive public health crisis with clarity and purpose." "I'm terrified of public speaking." "Good. Terrified people are honest, and honesty is what people need to see. What if I freeze? What if I can't get through it without falling apart?" Then you fall apart on stage and people see you're human. That this matters so much, it breaks you. That's not weakness, Mei. That's power. 3 days later, Mei stood backstage at a San Francisco tech conference, about to give the talk that would either save everything or destroy it completely. Miguel squeezed her hand. "You've got this." "What if I don't?" "Then we figure out plan B together." "But you've got this." Sofia appeared with Emma. "Front row, right where you can see us. You're not alone up there." Mei nodded, unable to speak past the terror in her throat. The moderator called her name. Mei walked onto the stage, faced 1,000 people in the audience, and cameras broadcasting this to hundreds of thousands more. Her hands gripped the podium. She found Sofia and Miguel and Emma in the front row, and she began to speak. "My name is Dr. Mei Chen. 6 months ago, I watched my 35-year-old sister die of breast cancer because we caught it too late. Today, I'm here to tell you about the woman in the front row who's alive because I couldn't save Maya." Mei pointed at Sofia, who stood up holding Emma's hand. The cameras swung toward them. "This is Sofia Martinez, single mother, 2 jobs, no health insurance. 3 weeks before she tried my app, she found a lump. She was going to ignore it. Couldn't afford to miss work, couldn't afford the medical bills. In a year, maybe 2, she'd have been stage 3 or 4. Dead within 5 years, leaving her daughter an orphan." The room was absolutely silent when Mei pulled up Sofia's scans on the screen behind her. "Stage 1A when we found it. 98% survival rate. She's alive. Emma still has her mother. because of early detection. She let that land, then continued. Some people say I'm practicing medicine without a license, that I'm experimenting on vulnerable communities, that I'm a tech vulture profiting from fear. Mei's voice strengthened. Here's what I actually am. A woman with $200 million who watched her sister die because money didn't matter when cancer came too late. She showed the brutal statistics. 42,000 annual deaths, racial disparities, cost barriers keeping women from screenings. I've spent $18 million in 3 months. My own money, zero profit. Some of you think that makes me incompetent, that I'm throwing away a fortune on grief-fueled delusion. Mei looked directly at the cameras, at Richard wherever he was watching. But here's what 18 million bought. 217 women screened who never would have gotten mammograms. 43 early-stage cancers detected. 43 women who will live because we caught it in time. 43 mothers, daughters, sisters, wives who get to keep living. Her voice cracked. You want to call that incompetent? Fine. You want to say I'm wasting money? Go ahead. But you tell Sofia Martinez, you tell Emma, her 7-year-old daughter, that saving her mother's life was a waste of resources. The room remained frozen. My sister died because the system failed her, because early detection wasn't accessible. I have the resources to change that, and I'm going to use every penny, every connection, every skill I have to make sure fewer people die the way she did. Mei showed the foundation's expansion plans, mobile clinics, partnerships with community centers, plans for 25 more cities. But I can't do this alone. I'll run out of money in 6 months. We need help, funding, medical partners, community organizations. We need other people with resources to step up and do this in their cities. Because I can't save everyone. But together we can change a system that kills 42,000 women every year from a disease we know how to detect early. She looked at Sofia again, at Miguel, at Emma coloring, unaware she was watching her mother's life being defended. Some of you will leave thinking I'm having a breakdown, that I should sell my company and stop making trouble. Mei's voice was steady now, powerful. But I hope some of you leave thinking, I could do this too. I could use what I have to save lives. I could be the reason someone doesn't have to stand at their sister's grave wishing they'd done more. She stepped back from the podium. Thank you. The applause started slowly, then built, then became a standing ovation that lasted 3 full minutes. But Mei barely heard it. She was watching the live stream counter. 300,000 people watching, comments flooding in, donations coming through in real time. Her phone buzzed. A text from Richard. Call me now. They called him from backstage. Miguel beside her. That was quite a performance, Richard said. His voice sounded different, softer. It wasn't a performance. It was the truth. I know. That's why I'm calling. Richard paused. I'm withdrawing the lawsuit. Mei felt her knees weaken. What? I watched your talk. I saw the numbers. The women you saved. Sofia's daughter. His voice cracked. I remembered Maya wanted kids. She talked about it constantly. Baby names, nursery colors. She doesn't get that, but Sofia does, because of you. Mei couldn't speak. I was wrong. I thought you were running from grief, but you were running towards something that actually matters. Richard's voice broke completely. Maya would be so proud of you. Richard, I want to help. I have connections in New York, medical investors, insurance companies, hospital systems. Let me use them. Let me help you scale this. He paused. I'm setting up a matching fund. Every dollar donated, I'll match up to 10 million. And I'm calling everyone I know who's lost someone to cancer. After hanging up, Mei stood there shaking. Miguel pulled her into his arms. It's going to be okay, he said. You're going to save so many people. We're going to save them, Mei corrected, pulling back to look at him. I couldn't do this without you. Miguel smiled. Is this the part where you finally admit you need me? Don't push your luck. But their eyes held. And this time, when Miguel leaned in and kissed her, Mei didn't pull away. When they broke apart, Miguel was smiling. I wanted to do that for weeks. Why didn't you? Because I'm a community health worker who depends on your foundation for funding. The power dynamic felt wrong. And now I don't care. I love you. I love your fierce determination and your terrible sleep schedule and the way you cry every time we save another life. I love that you turn grief into something that matters. I love you too, Mei said, even though you're impossible and you argue with me about everything. Especially because I argue with you. They kissed again, there in the wings of the stage, the future uncertain but theirs. If this story moved you, if you believe wealth should heal instead of hoard, if you think early detection saves lives, if you want to see more stories about people who turn tragedy into hope, then do something right now. Hit that like button and subscribe to Echoes of Heart TV. But more importantly, share this video with every woman in your life, your mother, your sister, your daughter, your friends, because breast cancer doesn't discriminate, and early detection changes everything. Drop a comment telling us you'll talk to the women you love about getting screened. Your engagement spreads a message that could save lives. Do it now, please. Over the next 6 months, everything changed faster than anyone expected. Richard's matching fund inspired other wealthy donors. Within 8 weeks, they'd raised $40 million, enough to expand to 20 cities, enough to hire real staff, enough to make this sustainable. The FDA approved the app with specific medical disclaimers. Insurance companies began covering thermal screening technology. The system itself started shifting. Sofia completed radiation treatment. Her scans were clear. 5 years cancer-free was now a real possibility. And Mei and Miguel built something neither expected, a partnership that was professional and personal and powerful. They still argued constantly about everything. But now the arguments ended differently. 1 year after Sofia's diagnosis, they stood at Maya's grave together. The flowers they brought were chrysanthemums and marigolds, Chinese and Mexican blooms representing cultures coming together. Hi, Maya, Mei said softly. We kept the promise. 612 women saved so far. 612 mothers and daughters and sisters who get to keep living. Emma ran up. 8 now, healthy and full of life. Can I put flowers too? Of course, mija, Miguel said. Emma placed a daisy on the grave. Thank you for saving my mommy. My mom says you're a hero. Mei couldn't speak. Miguel's arm went around her shoulders. Sofia joined them, completely cancer-free. I start at UCSF next week. Patient advocate position, working with Dr. Park. Maya would love that, Mei said. Survivors helping survivors. They stood together, this chosen family built from loss and love and determination to make tragedy mean something. Mei's phone buzzed. Text from Linda. Detroit woman just flagged. Stage 1, surgery scheduled. That's 613. 613 lives. 613 futures that almost didn't exist. 613 reasons Maya's death wasn't meaningless, Miguel said, reading over her shoulder. It was still meaningless, Mei said quietly. She shouldn't have died. None of them should face this. But at least we're saving the ones we can. That's all anyone can do, Sofia said gently. Save who we can. Love who we have. Use what we've been given. As they drove back to San Francisco, Miguel took Mei's hand. Your brother called, wants to fund expansion to 15 more cities. Richard's becoming insufferable with all this generosity. Terrible problem to have. They smiled at each other, the city spreading before them. Somewhere in those streets, a woman was finding a lump and deciding whether to ignore it. Somewhere a daughter was making her mother schedule a screening. Somewhere a phone was downloading an app that would save a life. The work wasn't finished. 42,000 women would still die this year. The system was still broken. Healthcare was still tied to wealth and luck. But 613 women who would have died were alive. Tomorrow that number would be 614. One life at a time, one screening at a time, one act of defiance against a system that said some lives mattered more than others. Mei thought about Maya, about grief and love and how they transformed each other. Her sister was gone. That pain would never completely fade. But Maya's death had created something extraordinary, a foundation saving lives, a movement challenging systems, a love between two people who'd started as enemies. Maybe that's what it meant to grieve well, not to stop hurting, but to let the hurt create something beautiful, to use wealth and pain and privilege to make sure fewer people suffered, to turn grief into grace, tragedy into hope, death into life. 613 lives and counting. And Maya, wherever she was, finally able to rest knowing her death hadn't been for nothing. Breast cancer is one of the most common cancers affecting women. Early detection through mammograms, self-exams, and new technologies catches cancer when it's most treatable. Stage 1 has a 98% 5-year survival rate. Don't wait. Don't ignore symptoms. Get screened. Talk to your doctor. Early detection changes everything. In memory of all those lost to breast cancer and in celebration of those we've saved, may we use our resources, money, time, voice, love to heal instead of hoard. Everyone deserves access to healthcare. Everyone deserves early detection. Everyone deserves a fighting chance.